Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and today we are back here on another Sunday afternoon here at the house. Sunday afternoons tend to be a little time where we can do some videos because it's another gorgeous day. So we thought it would be fun. Last week we were at Mimi's house. This week we are here at our house. Behind me is the one little, well, I do have another little strip of shade, but this is my main shade garden, and we have been here several times last year. You can check out those video links in the description below, but I wanted to show you this bed before I put any annuals in it and before I really did any kind of work in it for this spring. So this is just a great little tour. We're going to start here at the shade garden, then we'll go over to the cottage garden so that you can see that as well. Again, I have no annuals planted yet. I hope to change that maybe this afternoon because it looks like the weather is finally cooperating and we can start to get some annuals in the ground because I'm so stinking excited. Now, here you will see that this strip of a bed is predominantly shade because of our house. Our house is the one that gives it the shade. You will notice though right now we do have that strip of sun. So when I do plant some of my annuals or other, if I do plant perennials here, I have to be mindful of that. We have some interesting roof lines, and so it's already what, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which, you know, in April that kind of sun is fine right here, but when you're talking about July and August, if I put a shade loving annual right there and it gets 2 o'clock sun, it's not going to be very happy. Last year I did diamond snow or frost. Anyway, I did one of the euphorbias and it did fabulous. So let's just go take a little walk through here. This beautiful hosta right here, this is Wiggles and Squiggles hosta. It is a hosta. A lot of times people are like, what in the world is that glorious thing? It's just this fantastic hosta that we got from Walter's Gardens. Of course, it can do some morning sun. It prefers the afternoon shade, as all hostas do. And it's really low, gets wide, and then of course does those fun little wiggles and squiggles on it. It's fantastic. Now, in the fall or late summer, y'all saw me wrestle. I had 3 of the lady in red ferns right here. I took them out because they were just overgrowing my poor zebra hydrangea. The zebra hydrangea is finally starting to kind of flush back out. It's called a zebra because look, the new foliage on the stalks, of course it's another windy day, the new stalk color is really black, and then the blooms are going to be a pure white. And even though this sweet thing has gone through a couple of frost and freezes, we have little flower buds all over it. So I'm very excited about that. So zebra hydrangea is doing well. It is a macrophylla hydrangea, so I do have to kind of protect it. When we had the 28-degree night, I did cover it well, so I think that really helped. You can see the tips did get a little bit of the damage, but most part overall it did great. And then the bleeding hearts, oh my goodness, these bleeding hearts, look at this. This is one gorgeous bleeding heart. Of course they're called a bleeding heart because of these beautiful, let's see if I can get it up here without snapping it. It got connected. Look at that. Look at those blooms, absolutely gorgeous. It is a spring bloomer. This is the old-fashioned one, so it only blooms in the spring. But while she blooms, she's positively glorious, and I love her. So I have 2 of these, one on each side of zebra hydrangea. Will do great. So I have to figure out kind of what I'm going to put in here. I do have 3 spot-on pulmonaria that I need to plant. I'm thinking I want to plant them here in this area. The window box will come as the time allows, and then here come the glorious hostas. Like, look at this. Don't ask me what some of these are because I don't know. Like, these 2 are the same. I don't remember what the names of them are. These were hand-me-downs from my mama, so I do not remember them, what the name is. But they're pretty. They're a pretty variegated hosta. And if you can see, I don't know if Jerry's showing you, but on the ground here, you can see that there's like the little pellets. Let's see if I can pick one up. These are the little slug and snail pellets. It is the bait that I put out so that they do not destroy my hostas. Last year, one day they looked like this. I came out the next morning and they were completely holy, and I am bound and determined for that not to happen this year. So I need to probably reapply this. That is that great bonide bait that I showed you last week. It's organic, it's safe to put around pets and your vegetable garden and so forth and so on. So that is a great option. Then this is Autumn Frost. So I know that this is Autumn Frost, which is a Proven Winners Hosta, and they're still emerging. Like, they're still coming out and filling in. So she will continue to get nice and large as the season goes on. Just a glorious color, just beautiful. And then of course the holly fern, Annette's holly fern. Of course, I call it Annette's holly fern because it came from my sweet friend Annette in Waco, Texas, when we went to go visit her a couple of years ago. I asked her if I could take a clump of her holly fern, and she let me. Now, I will tell you too, so for those of you that have ferns, or maybe you have some perennials that have some frost damage, this holly fern had all of its old foliage. Holly ferns are evergreen, and so this is all new foliage that's emerging. We had a bunch of new foliage emerge, then we had that 28-degree night. Some of the new foliage got burnt. I have not had time, but what I will do is I'll get my clippers and I will come in here and actually cut the damaged pieces all the way back down to the ground. And the holly fern will just continue to send out new fronds as the season goes on, and it will just be huge and massive and positively glorious. So if you got some frost or freeze damage, it's okay. Just trim it back, cut it off. The fern cannot recover from this. So this is not something you leave on and say, oh, well, it'll bounce back and it'll flush back out on this particular one. Not on this particular one, but the whole plant will. So just keep that in mind. And then we have sweet Bashful Betty. Remember when we got Bashful Betty from the Unique Stone order? Doesn't she look sweet here? Jerry he wasn't so keen on me getting statues. He was like, Jenny, I don't want people staring at me in my garden. But I think Bashful Betty's so sweet. And I got her because my grandmama, her name was Betty. So this is my little sweet thing in the garden to help me always remember her even more. This is another Autumn Frost. Beautiful, really heavily variegated on that. More wiggles and squiggles. Then this is the Queen of Hearts Bruneria from Proven Winners. Queen of Hearts, excuse me, it's not Bruneria, it is Bruneria. There we go, Bruneria. Someone corrected me, and it's like tomato, right? But if you know better, you do better. So I'm going to try to do better. Bruneria. If you say it wrong, I won't judge you. It's okay. There is grace in gardening. Very similar to a hosta in the fact of the way that it grows. Shade, little morning sun, predominantly shade, gorgeous foliage. It dies back completely in the winter. It comes up, will continue to grow nice and big, does those sweet, really true blue flowers on it. It is fantastic. Now I have two ghost ferns in here. This is one. A ghost fern is a cross between a painted fern, like a Japanese painted fern, so that's where it gets its coloring from, that and a lady fern. Lady ferns are tall, so they bred the two to get the color of a painted and the height of a lady fern. So she will continue and get nice and tall. Then these two guys back here are my Sun King spikenards. They will get 3 to 4 feet. So if you remember back to last year, I mean, they were huge. So again, they're still growing, they're still emerging. They will get nice and big. They have that gorgeous yellow color to them. It's mostly for the foliage. They will do flowers at the end of the season, but it's not anything, spectacular. It is for the foliage and the height. Now, you might be looking at my window box hay rack right here, and you're like, Jenny, really? Like, you need to have that in there? Well, I was going to go pull it out, and there's a bird nest in there. And so there's a little wren that has made her home right here, right in the Dusty Miller. And my rule is, if there's no eggs, it's fair game and the nest can come out. Well, there's eggs. So I had a little talk with Miss Wren, and I told her that she needed to hurry up and hatch those eggs and have those babies and get them out so that I could plant my hay rack for the spring. So I'll wait until the babies have flown the coop, and then we will plant it. But hence why I have some scraggly plants in there. The Lenten roses, this was my most spectacular year with my Lenten roses. There was 2 in this bed, and they were just glorious this year. So these are the old flowers. They're 2 different kinds, hence the different colors. One's like mahogany snow, and yeah, I don't remember what the other one is. Pink frost maybe. I think this is the pink frost, and that's the mahogany snow over there. But look, this thing is still actually putting out some new flowers. And this particular one started blooming for me in November and went from November all the way through till now. And this is one plant. So this one plant is just, man, she is loving life right now. This is Franny's Hydrangea, which I affectionately call it Franny's Hydrangea. I believe it's a Fuji waterfall because it does these glorious lace caps. This one was too big to cover in those frost and freezes, hence you can see some of the damage. Again, once this hydrangea fully flushes out, all of that will disappear and it will be fine. We will see if we get blooms early in the spring or early summer rather. I don't know, it may be sporadic this year because of the frost damage, but this hydrangea I know from experience, even if I had cut this way down, this like right now, in late summer, early fall, it would bloom. So I'm gonna get blooms, it's just a question of, I don't know when. So she is huge and just doing great. And then almost to the end of this bed, we have another little pockets where I stick annuals in here. But right now, the star of the show is this Euchera. There's 3 of the same one. This is Dale's strain that Jerry started from seed, right? Yep, started from seed years ago. They are a native species. Clearly, they're doing fantastic. So there's a 1, 2, and then a 3 behind me. It's just a little windy here, folks. It's springtime in North Carolina. Although it's nothing like what Laura has been experiencing. Dear heavens, have y'all seen that when she's been out planting her seeds? And oh, I don't know if I'd be cut out for the desert climate. I'll take my heat and humidity here. But the star of the show right now is the Solomon seal. The Solomon seal is obviously just a glorious, good gracious, y'all. A glorious variegated variety, has beautiful leaves on it. Now, these are the blooms, and they're at their end. About 10 days ago, they were in all of their glory, and they're little white bell shape. Right now they're closed, but they're open, almost reminiscent of like a snowdrop that just extends the whole way underneath the side of the stalk. When they're done, we'll have just this beautiful foliage, height in our garden. Solomon seal spread, naturalize really well. In fact, it's just really on top of the surface of the ground. This is an area where I had dug out and transplanted some over to the pines. And you can see down here where I really need to come in and thin these out because they're growing like literally inside of the eucheras. So you can just go and take your shovel and just skim the surface of the soil and they just pop right out. So I need to thin these part out, transplant them somewhere else so that everybody else can come. This hydrangea is the Starlight. That's the Starlight hydrangea from Proven Winners. And, oh, sorry, Jerry, come back. He's giving me faces. Give you a little update on the strawberry planter. So I just rotated it today, but look how nice it is. It's filling in. The mini vistas hot pink right now are starting to take off the fastest, but those super bells white are doing great, as is Sharon, and of course the grass. All right, let's get away from the noisy wind chime. Those wind chimes can drive Jerry crazy sometimes. I like the little tinkly. Now they're a little noisy right now, but generally I like the sound. Now, just to give you an idea, hello butterfly. The bed that runs the whole length down, the azaleas are finishing their blooms right now. These are formosas, or the ones that are the hot pink. Down at the very end, that is autumn twist. So that's an encore azalea. We're going to do bubblegums this year. So bubblegums will be planted throughout that bed. The daffodils, the jonquils are finishing up. You leave the foliage on those so that way they can store up all the great energy that they need for next year's blooms. So if you see any little green stalks through there, that's what those are. They will die back naturally once the heat hits, and then they just disappear. So the cottage garden, she's coming to life. She is waking up. Again, there are no annuals in here. When you have perennials, I really want to see kind of how big everybody's going to get, so I know where to put my annuals and how many, because I don't want to put my annuals in too soon and then my perennials are growing up and it overtakes the annuals. So this is an Amsonia. This is Amsonia hubrici. Jerry, well, anyway, they do in the spring, they're a spring bloomer. There's a honeybee around here and she is just having a great time. This is a native species, spring bloomer, gorgeous, blue, star-shaped flowers, big, huge clusters. The blooms on them are actually kind of small, but they're in clusters together, so they give a nice big presence. It's a beautiful one. Amsonia is extremely versatile, drought tolerant, of course, loves the sun. Everything in here is going to be a full sun plant. And then in the fall, the foliage will turn a beautiful color, so you get fall interest with it too. Mounds of daylilies. Again, they're still coming up and waking up, so they're doing well. These are all the proven winner, different varieties of proven winners, just huge ones. And then right here, all right, look how glorious this thing is. This is Lemon Meringue Baptiza from Proven Winners. This is the Decadence series. Huge, like, look at that. She is really, she's not even in full bloom. So the dark is the buds to be, the flowers to be, and then the yellow, because we did have just this week 2 nights of frost. So she did fine. I didn't cover any of this. And so they can handle it. They're fine. That's the beautiful thing about perennials. And most of the time they can handle it. This is, I did this new last year. This is Proven Winners. Do you know what color this one is? I do think it is the yellow. This is the, we call them red hot pokers. I don't know how to say I did not look it up, so I don't want, y'all to fuss at me. But red hot pokers, except it's not red, it's yellow. So this was actually, I didn't know this was gonna be an evergreen. This is last year's foliage. Obviously I haven't cleaned it up yet. And then the new foliage is emerging. So what I can do is when I come in here is I'll just cut this back and then leave the new foliage so that it can grow. Like I said, the daylilies are coming up nicely. The perennial salvias. On this side, I had 3 of them. Not quite sure that I like them because, I like the plant. I don't like the plant placement because they're short. Which on the back of the bed, I think I want something with a little more oomph. This one is crystal blue. It's the Color Spires Crystal Blue. Now the pollinators love it. And it's a great plant. I'm not saying the plant's not good. I just think I want to move it more forward in the bed instead of in the back, because when these daylilies take off, and if I put a coleus here, you're not even going to see this. So I think I'm going to move them. Coming on down, the star of this bed in the hot heat of the summer is this Lantana. This is Miss Huff, and Miss Huff, if you remember from the past videos, gets ginormous. She's huge. She did have a little bit of some damage from the frost, but she's doing great. So I'm not worried about her. Before you know it, she'll be in full bloom and the butterflies will be going crazy over that. This is, we have an Allium Millennium, I believe this one is, right here. Alliums for me, they do, This is a really, the soil in this bed is really bad. I've been working on it the last couple of years. Heavy, heavy clay soil, had no amendment, so I'm amending it. I'm hoping as the years go on that she will do better. But you can see it's just kind of sparse and thin. I might actually dig it up. It might have gotten too deep, so I need to bring it up a little bit, I think. One plant that is doing absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to see it blooming again this year, is the banana cream Shasta daisy. So you can see how nice and large this mound is. That's the great thing too about these Shasta daisies from Proven Winners, is that each year your mound just gets larger and larger. And just even here in April, it has got lots of gorgeous new growth on it. It never goes completely away in the wintertime. Like, you can still see where the plant is, which is helpful if you need to do any kind of maintenance in the bed. So she is doing great and will be glorious. Remember that banana cream, the flowers come out, that classic daisy shape, come out a beautiful pale yellow, and then as they age, they'll do different shades of yellow and then turn white. So on the same plant, you'll have shades of yellow and white, hence the name banana cream. More daisies. This is a spiderwort. This is Charlotte's Web. In the past, she's not done well, but she's looking really good right now. So I hope that she will do her gorgeous, like, indigo blue blooms, which is really pretty on her chartreuse foliage. More daylilies. This is one that I always enjoy. This is a GM. I do not remember which variety it is. I would have to look it up. But it has these gorgeous Clemson orange blooms on it, on these nice tall stalks, and it's really the first thing in the garden to bloom. Even before my Amsonia and the Salvias and the Baptiza, this sweet thing is just blooming. I did have a couple of them. This is the only one that has survived, but she's doing great, so we're going to leave her alone. Once the flowers have finished, we'll just take it back and cut the stalks down to the plant, and then I'll just have a beautiful green plant for the season, and it blends in. Throughout here, obviously, once I get my annuals in, we will remulch this bed. You can see that we have the drip tubing in here that's hooked up to our irrigation system, because this bed does absolutely bake, get sun up to sun down. There's emitters that are about every foot in here, and we just have it snaked through the bed. So this can get watered as frequently as we need it to. And then over here on this side, it's very much the same. I say that these two beds are sisters. They're not identical twins. This side is actually a little bit larger than the previous side. The only real difference here is that I did the indigo girl salvia, which the honeybees love it. They love that rich blue color. And so right now, this is, some of the earliest flowers, and this little sweet girl right here is just going to town. She doesn't care a thing about me sitting here talking about her. She's just having a happy old feast in these flowers. Just so sweet. So we love our little honeybees, and that's the great thing about having these great plants in here, is that it really supports our bee population, because you need your pollinators. Going on down through here, we've got Babe. Y'all remember Babe? Look at sweet Babe. I think Babe will do fine here. This is Babe the pig from Unique Stone. This was one on our very first order from Unique Stone. I don't think the daylilies will hide him. If so, I can always scoot him back a little bit. Of course, when I placed him here in the winter, the daylilies were gone, and he's actually right on top of an allium. We'll see. If I need to move him, I'll move him. No big deal. But we have the other Charlotte's Web right here, another banana cream, allium. Now, I didn't tell you on the other side, because it was hiding behind a daylily. These are the Paint the Town dianthus from PW. This is fuchsia. There was 3 plants in here. So we have 1, 2, 3. And they're really, now we just got yesterday, gosh, like 2 inches of rain. So they're doing pretty good for getting pelted by all that rain yesterday. But I love this, really kind of this icy blue foliage, nice and low, gorgeous pops of color with the flowers, and just does really nice here around the rock. Right here is my guara. This is the Stratosphere Pink from PW. So the guara for us is a perennial rather, and so it'll get nice and tall with these airy, beautiful pink blooms on it. Another lemon meringue, daylily, and then we have, gosh, Jerry, is it the Beyond Midnight? Is that what this one is? Do you remember? I'm trying to, it's a penstemon. Let's see if I can find my tag. I always, you know, Mama has all of her cute little tags that she has. And Jenny's still, you know, I just put my tag in the ground. I don't see it right now. It's either Beyond Midnight or Blackbeard. But penstemons are great because they'll give you that gorgeous dark foliage, give you height in your garden. They will do beautiful blooms, again, that the pollinators love, but it just brings a nice kind of height and color difference between these daylilies right here. I may need to move these forward if these daylilies continue to get massive and big and they'll overtake this, so I need to maybe need to like flip-flop them so that it can be seen more often. And then of course another Amsonia is right here. Now, my loropetalums, y'all always ask like what these things are when we're in this space. These are loropetalums. I'm not sure of the variety. When we built our house 17 years ago, we were given some not so great landscape advice, and we were told to put these in the front of our house. Well, if you remember the front of our house, like our porch has about a 2-foot high elevation off the ground. So yeah, if I had left those in front of our house, like you would never see our front porch. So Jerry moved them several years ago here. There were 4 of them. We lost one, no big deal. These things are huge, especially this one back here, just massive. Now is the perfect time for us to trim them. So we will get the trimmers, a ladder, possibly the bobcat and the bucket, because we need to take the tops off, and you can really like whack them back. It's really hard to kill a loropetalum, so we'll really give them a really hard prune, so that way behind them our thuja green giants can get lots of good sun in there, and they won't have any holes within their foliage because they are glorious. There's 3 of them at the base. They're about 17 to 20 feet wide, and they're probably, I don't know, what, 30 feet tall, 25, 30 feet tall right now. But those 3 actually hide our entire tractor shed. Like there's a building back there that you don't even know it. So that's a good thing. Of course, we'll come up here and do all of our annuals. With my annuals, I really don't have any plans right now. That's the beautiful thing about a cottage garden, is that you can, on a whimsy, decide what you want to go in there. Of course, I will have coleus. I will have my vermillionaire for my hummingbirds. I will have petunias. I will have all sorts of great things like that. The exact choice and placement, we'll find out. Of course, I'll bring you along for the ride when we do that. And then on that bank bed behind us with all the little limes and the firelights and the Nellie Stevens back there, that needs a little bit of TLC. That will come. And then we did get 4 of the unique stone urns in there. We had some free, or not free, we paid for them, leftover bulbs from the nursery this fall. So I filled them up. They look awful. I'm just going to tell you, they were a dud. So that's going to come out. Obviously, they needed to come out like, you know, yesterday. But we'll put petunias in there and it will be really pretty. We'll tie the whole thing together. But it's going to be glorious. Gardening is a journey, and we are definitely on the journey. Y'all, it is Sunday afternoon. I just need to get off this camera right now and go pull some weeds or something, because the old brain is like, we're done. With that note, as always, thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. We love you. We will see y'all next time. Bye, friends.